Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. It's your city administrator update with the Brecklinator, because that's where I'm at this morning. Chad Brecklin, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jeremy. How are you doing this morning?
Have you ever been called the Brecklinator?
No, I've been called
You're
worse,
welcome.
probably. But
You're welcome.
Yeah.
No, we'll keep it at Chad Brecklin, City Administrator of City of Fitchburg. Chad, we got a lot to get to, so we'll start with development first. We are starting to do some development updates here during your updates. Well, since the last time we've seen you, there's a lot of projects always in the works coming. We'll just touch on a few here. Starting first up, a lot of people probably know in the Corey, kind of near Target, off of PD, there's a lot of earth movement going up there, and I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of curiosity about that project. I certainly do, because maybe there's a few restaurants that are interesting coming in there.
Sure, yeah. So that project does continue to move along, and the big thing that folks are probably seeing right now is there's I think about 170 unit multifamily apartment building that is going up on the northern part of that development on the north side of Fitzroy Road, and then the earth work is continuing to move forward for those four businesses that will be locating right along McKee Road as well. So that's what folks are likely seeing at this point in time. As with every development project, you know, they kind of ebb and flow to a certain degree, and I've seen a number of emails in the last couple of weeks with, you know, some conversations that need to be had about deadlines and this thing here and that thing there, and you know, it's a process throughout. And anytime there's a development project, it starts generally with some conversations, works its way through the city process. At some point, shovels hit the ground, and then, you know, there's still a lot of back and forth and things going through there amongst a whole host of people, and you know, until you finally start to see the actual project come to completion. It's a journey for sure.
All right, well, we'll check in on that journey next month as well. Moving over to Terra Vesta or Uptown, I'm sorry, let me do Uptown first, then Terra Vesta. It's so close together.
Yeah.
In the Uptown neighborhood, work being had, first off, just in apartments alone continues,
Right.
But also future development there. There's been discussions about UW Hospital. I think you did talk about this last time, rehab hospital coming to Fitchburg.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, there are two apartment buildings that are in various stages of construction there in the Uptown neighborhood. And then, as we have discussed, we continue to be meeting regularly, and UW Health continues to be working their way through the approval process. In what we anticipate to be breaking ground this year is about a 40 or 50 bed rehab hospital that would be located in the Uptown neighborhood. So again, as I just mentioned, you know, there's kind of a journey and a process that takes place, and some things don't happen as quickly as any party might want. But we are still continuing based on most recent conversations, at least a project happening this year. But again, you never know.
All right, we'll keep you updated on that. Terra Vesta now, as mentioned before, always something going on there. That's developing, continuing to develop with... well, I guess it keeps moving as the project is laid out.
Right, yeah, they're, I think, in the fourth phase of 5 total. So there's, you know, I think roughly about 100 homes in each of the phases. So we're really kind of, you know, wrapping up that particular development. Phil Sveum and the team that he's assembled there are nearly complete. That's obviously been a long journey for anybody who's paid any attention to that one, and the approvals that were necessary, and the scope and size of that development was significantly reduced at one point during the process. So this is one of those developments that it's been very popular. It's been recognized in a few different ways for the way in which it's trying to be sustainable. And it'll be wrapping up here probably in the next, I'm going to say, you know, 2, 3 to 5 years, just based on how they've continued to progress. Yeah,
it's crazy. And it looks beautiful. If you haven't drove out there yet, you need to check it out for sure. Over to the other side of Uptown, in the I call it the Hartung area.
Fields,
Hartung Fields. Thank you. Work continues there on a couple different projects.
Yeah. So Hartung Fields is located at the intersection of Haight Farm Road and Lacey Road, Blaney Road. It's the old Hartung seed property. Hartung Seeds is still operating there. Hartung Brothers Seeds is still operating there in the southwest corner of the property, but there's approximately 120 acres that they've begun to develop with the first 40 or so. The first multifamily building, which I think is right around 250 units, if I recall correctly, is nearing completion. Folks can definitely see that one is about wrapping up. It's anticipated that there will be a second building started in the near future, next year or so, 15 months. But again, there's uncertainties there, obviously, when you look at costs and financing and capital raising and all of those sorts of things. So there's, until a shovel actually hits the ground, you don't necessarily know it's going to actually go through. But we are anticipating that, the second building will potentially start in approximately a year or so, give or take, with a third large building also planned there in the future. There's about 50 townhomes that have already been completed or nearing completion as well in that neighborhood. The city's been talking about beginning to put that park together that's going to serve that particular neighborhood. And then, of course, the bulk of the rest of that area is going to be available for commercial, light manufacturing, medical, technological, science-type businesses, those sorts of things. So we're looking forward to continuing to work with the developer there to see what else will come into that particular development.
Yeah, that whole area. I mean, basically Terra Vista across Uptown and over there is definitely booming. So it's been fun to watch it come together.
Yeah, well, it's great proximity to, you're about 10 minutes or so from downtown and campus. You can get to the east or west sides of Madison, and generally speaking, 10, 15 minutes. We have really good access and visibility from Highway 14, depending upon, what you're looking for. So we're really hopeful that Highway 14 corridor is going to continue to really boom for us. We've got, I think, some exciting things hopefully going to happen there.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we close that chapter, but we're going to stay in the construction world. We're going to turn to the road side of things. First off, here at City Hall, City Hall is going through I don't know, you call it a resurfacing project, but the parking lot is being redone. What's going on? Right.
Yeah. It's been a while since the parking lot has been resurfaced here at City Hall. The building was occupied in 1999, so we're more than 25 years into this building. We've done all the patching that we can possibly do. Our Public Works team has done all that they can do to try to maintain this, and it just, as things happen, every 20, 25, 30 years, asphalt completely breaks down for the most part and needs to be resurfaced, so that's what you're seeing now. Some of the curb and median cutouts are being done right now, and new curb and gutters being put in certain spots where it needs to be replaced, and then at some point this summer, the actual blacktop will be resurfaced here in City Hall. So we'll look to communicate that to City Hall visitors so that if you're looking for places to park, and you might not necessarily find what you have typically found while that resurfacing is going on, and where you might find some alternate options.
Yeah, we'll try to alert you as those closures come in at the different parts. They're not doing it all at once, so at least you can park at different spots while we work around. Sort of, what do we call that? We call it Rubik's Studio in here.
Phases.
Phases.
Yeah.
Phases. Yeah. All right. Street resurfacing project will be off and running as well. So we kind of closed up last year, starting this year.
Yeah, exactly. The City Engineering Department has put out its request for proposals and awarded a bid to a company to begin doing the street resurfacing. Annually, we do, roughly, $1.5 million or so in street resurfacing again each year. And this is a continuation of that annual project. The City Engineering Department recently updated its website, has a clear map of where all these projects for resurfacing will be happening this year. So I'd encourage anybody who wants to learn more about that to visit the city's website. And engineering also did host a public information meeting earlier this spring on its resurfacing plans as well, which afforded anybody, again, who's interested in this particular project or topic an opportunity to come in, learn more about it, talk with city staff.
Yeah, and I do believe the homeowners affected by this will get letters as that moves on. So
absolutely.
If you are a part of this, you have or will be notified as this project continues.
Yep.
And then we move over to Sain Road. That reconstruction project started in early spring, continues on. Any updates from that corridor?
Yeah, so we're basically working on a two-phase project. They're kind of happening more or less simultaneously, but one phase goes from north of East Sherrill Parkway to West Clayton Road. That is continuing to basically reconstruct that entire stretch and make it a more urbanized roadway, better capable of handling all of the various modes of transportation and volumes that road has seen and is likely to see as the city continues to grow on its east side. And then the other portion of that project is the actual reconstruction of the McCoy Road, South Sain Road intersection. Now that is going to go from a curving connection, if you will, to a T intersection. So that project is also going on. They did find some excessive water, I'm told, on the intersection project, and that's put a little bit of a delay in there while they're in the process of having some special stone quarried and ultimately delivered to that project. It's going to set them back at least a couple of weeks.
No.
Yeah.
All right, quickly over to our parks projects. We had Adam in here, Deputy City Administrator, giving us a full update. Just for people who do have questions on, why so many projects all at once and funding that goes into those projects. Again, we've shared some of this information, but just as a recap, why is it all now?
Yeah. Before I get to that, I know I'm trying to stay on time for you, Jeremy. I do want to recognize that our longtime Director of Parks, Rec, and Forestry, Scott Endo, who was at the city nearly 20 years, just retired last week from public service. So we want to thank Scott for all the work that he had done and all the projects that he was a part of during his, again, nearly 20 years with the city, and we wish him all the best in his retirement.
Think of the legacy of all the parks, all the projects out there, all the meetings, and it's a pretty incredible feat there.
Absolutely. So back to your question, yes, there are a number of park projects that are currently underway. Those are all identified through the capital improvement planning process, and sometimes a project might get delayed for whatever reason, and we try to keep others on schedule, so it can sometimes seem like there's kind of a big pile of them taking place right now. So, there's probably a good 10 to 12 significant park projects taking place. As you mentioned, the Deputy City Administrator, Adam Sayers, taking the lead in overseeing those projects until a new person is hired to ultimately replace Scott. And, those are things that we, will continue to work on. We'll continue to look at what resources are available, both from a staff capacity standpoint as well as a financial standpoint, and, continue to implement projects as we need to do so. I will also add that there are a variety of different sources in which the funding comes from for park projects. If we're doing something on a replacement side of things, depending upon the scope of that replacement, it's probably coming from our operating budget, which is taxpayer levy, funded, and it could be borrowed money. If it's a significant project, we might be borrowing money for that, which obviously, again, we're utilizing taxpayer levy to pay down that debt and the interest associated with it. And then we also receive a fairly considerable amount of money from development-related fees for fee in lieu of parkland dedication or just a park impact fee that the city charges for any of our new developments that have a residential component to those. So because we are fortunate to have a significant amount of growth happening in our community, there is, generally speaking, a fair amount of dollars available for adding new park amenities within our community or adding new parks because of the development. So in many cases, particularly when you're seeing new amenities or new parks coming in, those are not being funded with taxpayer levy dollars in so much as they're more than likely being fully funded, or at least the majority of funding is coming from those impact fees or other development-related fees that the city charges.
All right. Well, that does it for the update. We ran out of time, but we'll get you back on here next time as we explore budget and CIP, Capital Improvement Plan, working through the process. Chad, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Jeremy.